For nearly 2 hours, a small, muddy puppy sat outside a police station. It didn't bark. It didn't beg for food. It just waited. Every time an officer walked out of the building, the puppy stood up and quietly followed them across the parking lot. But the moment the officer turned around, the puppy stopped. Then it sat down again, watching, waiting. Most officers barely noticed. Stray dogs sometimes wandered through the area, and everyone assumed the puppy would leave eventually. But it didn't. It stayed near the entrance, its tiny body covered in mud and its fur tangled with dry grass. Its eyes never left the station doors, as if it were waiting for someone specific. Then Officer Ryan Mitchell stepped outside after finishing a long report. The moment the puppy saw him, it stood up again. This time, it followed him across the parking lot. Ryan walked toward his patrol car without paying attention, but when he reached the driver's door and turned around, the puppy was still there. Standing quietly behind him, Ryan frowned slightly. There was something strange about the little dog's behavior. It wasn't wandering, it wasn't lost. It looked like it was trying to tell him something. And somehow, Ryan had the feeling it wanted him to follow. Officer Ryan Mitchell had spent 12 years in law enforcement. During that time, he had learned to trust his instincts, and right now, something about the puppy felt unusual. The small dog stayed close to him, but never tried to jump or beg for attention. Instead, it walked a few steps ahead, then stopped, turning its head to look back at him. Waiting. Ryan stopped walking. The puppy stopped too. The pattern repeated several times. Instead, it walked a few steps ahead, then stopped, turning its head to look back at him. Waiting. Ryan stopped walking. The puppy stopped too. The pattern repeated several times. Step forward. Look back. Wait. Ryan slowly crouched down to examine the dog. The puppy looked exhausted. Its paws were dirty. Its breathing was heavy, but its eyes were focused and determined. Suddenly, the puppy turned and began walking toward the street. After a few steps, it stopped and looked back again, waiting for Ryan. This time, the officer understood. The puppy wasn't following him. It was trying to lead him somewhere. Ryan glanced back toward the station for a moment. Then he made a decision. He followed the puppy. Several officers nearby watched curiously as Ryan walked after the tiny dog toward a narrow alley between two buildings. None of them realized that the strange behavior of a muddy puppy was about to lead to something serious. The alley was quiet. The only sounds were distant traffic and the soft tapping of the puppy's paws on the pavement. Ryan walked carefully behind the dog, studying everything around him. The puppy moved quickly, but stayed focused on a clear direction. It passed garbage bins and old brick walls before turning into a narrow path behind several abandoned storage buildings. The area felt strangely empty. Suddenly, the puppy began moving faster. Its tail wagged nervously as it approached a pile of broken wooden crates near a wire fence. Ryan slowed down and looked around. Something caught his attention near the ground. Footprints, mixed with small paw prints. The puppy circled the crates anxiously, whining softly while scratching at the dirt near the fence. Ryan stepped closer. A torn piece of fabric hung from the sharp wire. The officer's instincts immediately sharpened. Something had happened here. The puppy continued scratching and whining desperately. Ryan looked through the fence toward a patch of tall grass behind the building. At first, he thought he saw movement, but it wasn't an animal. The movement was slower, weak. The puppy suddenly squeezed through a small gap beneath the fence and ran toward the grass. Ryan quickly moved around the side entrance to reach the other side, and the moment he stepped into the overgrown area, he finally understood why the puppy refused to leave. Behind the building, the grass grew thick and uneven. Ryan moved slowly while scanning the ground. Then he saw her. A woman lay partially hidden in the grass near the wall. She was unconscious, Barely breathing, the puppy ran straight to her and curled beside her shoulder. Ryan rushed forward and immediately checked her pulse. It was weak, but she was alive. He grabbed his radio. Medical assistance needed immediately. As Ryan waited for help to arrive, he quickly looked around the area. A damaged bicycle lay nearby. Next to it was a small bag that had fallen open in the grass. The situation became clear. The woman had likely been injured while passing through the area and collapsed where no one could see her. The puppy had stayed beside her, waiting, protecting her. But when no one came, the little dog had run out to find help, and it refused to stop following the police officer until someone listened. Within minutes, emergency responders arrived. They carefully lifted the woman onto a stretcher. Throughout the rescue, the puppy stayed close beside Ryan, watching every movement with worried eyes. Later that evening, Ryan visited the hospital to check on the woman's condition. Doctors explained that she had suffered exhaustion and minor injuries, but would recover fully if she had remained there much longer. The outcome could have been very different. The puppy waited quietly beside Ryan in the hospital hallway. A nurse soon approached with something she had found inside the woman's bag. A veterinary record. The small puppy belonged to her. She had adopted the dog only a few days earlier. Ryan looked down at the tiny animal, resting beside his feet. The puppy hadn't been wandering outside the police station earlier that day. It had been searching for help, searching for someone who would follow, and when everyone else ignored it, it refused to give up. Ryan felt a wave of emotion he hadn't expected. In 12 years on the job, he had seen many acts of bravery, but few as pure as the determination of a tiny puppy trying to save the person it loved. In the days that followed, the story spread across the community. News reporters shared the incredible story of the puppy who refused to stop following a police officer until help arrived. People visited the hospital, bringing toys and treats for the tiny hero. But the puppy seemed happiest sitting quietly beside the officer who had trusted it. Ryan visited often while the woman recovered. Finally, the day arrived when she was strong enough to leave the hospital. The puppy walked proudly beside her as they crossed the parking lot together. Halfway to the car, the small dog paused. It looked back at Ryan and wagged its tail. Then it turned and continued walking beside its owner. Ryan stood quietly, watching them disappear down the street, and in that moment he realized something he would never forget. Sometimes heroes aren't loud. Sometimes they aren't strong. Sometimes they're just small, muddy puppies who refuse to give up on someone they love. And sometimes saving a life begins with something as simple as following a tiny set of paw prints. Before you go, if this story touched your heart even a little, take a moment to support the channel. Like the video, subscribe for more real hero stories. Share this with someone who loves dogs and tell us in the comments, would you have followed the puppy too?